Autumn Cook on the Fishbowl. Welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, I loved you on Face Off. I've been waiting for a show to come out like that for decades. I love makeup effects. I've always loved makeup effects. I thought, I'm kind of saddened that in the last decade per se, they kind of phased out makeup effects.
They're starving us.
Yeah, it's like but I'm happy that we're starting to get to like a return of monster movies. And,
Absolutely.
And hopefully that means the return of practical effects also.
Yeah, I'd like to see that whole 80s shtick come back, like something hatching out of a pod,
right?
Getting you while you sleep,
right?
Creeping under your bed. I think that whole thing died in the 90s. And
it did, the late 90s.
Yeah, and it was what made our childhood special.
Right. And it's like I just actually graduated Point Park here in Pittsburgh for screenwriting, and let me just say that I am a product of the 80s. So
yeah.
I'm trying to bring back the 80s in a big way.
It needs to happen. Everybody's so busy trying to make their political statement that they're losing their own identities being
right.
political now, and
right.
It gets old.
It does.
And
it's
then
like
Hollywood with the whole PG-13 thing. The
right.
horror movies are to sell a product.
Right.
They're not there to.
Right. It's like I just saw Logan on Friday, and I have to say, I am shocked, but in a good way, with the amount of graphic violence that are in that movie. It's also, it's like, when did it not become okay to make comic book movies are?
Yeah.
We had Blade, we had The Punisher.
Well, back in the day, like, even comic books were taboo.
Yeah, exactly.
And then,
exactly.
They're just going to rehash the same comic book over and over again with different
right.
actors. Like, who's going to be Spider-Man this week? And,
right.
It was cool at first, but it got to the point where I don't fucking care anymore.
I don't anymore.
I don't care who's Spider-Man. I don't care if there's a new one out, because it's
right.
been overplayed so many times that I was really like when The Witch came out, everybody's like, I don't think a lot of people got it, the
right.
art houseness of it,
right.
and things like that. People wanted a gore fest,
right?
And then there were people that didn't get it, the intellectual, artistic nature of the film. I don't know. I work with a lot of gore. I work with a lot of gore people. But I also think there has to be an intellectual backing to the film. Like, you could have all the gore in the world, but if you're just going to make poop jokes, Eli Roth.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Why?
Right.
Who are you trying to appeal to? Like, the bottom rung.
Right. Rob Zombie also.
Exactly. I'm not a Rob Zombie fan, but he knows the right people. He gets the right budgets. If he wanted to feed me, I'd let him pay me.
Right. But it's like, as a screenwriter, I feel like Rob Zombie's like totally missing out on what it means to be a writer.
First of all, you have to be able to write music.
Right. And I think The Devil's Rejects is probably his best film of that stature. I mean, I kind of really like El Super Beasto just because it's a cartoon. But
I walked out of the cartoon in the theater, and I made it through maybe like 40 minutes of Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it's tough for me. People are like, oh, you're into horror, this and that. Like, I can't watch a lot of this stuff. I can't watch a lot of stuff because intellectually it's not there.
Right.
If you're gonna keep the visual interest with the gore, keep the visual interest. I think Hostel, when that came out, and it's an old film, but that was very disappointing to me. Like, I go to an rated R film, and I believe I saw 10 sets of breasts before the
Right.
gore scene.
Right.
Okay, because breasts, to me, I'm a woman, that's a substitution
Right.
for
Exactly.
plot, for
Exactly.
effects, you know. So I had to sit through, and that was my birthday date, which was ruined. So I sat through 10 sets of breasts, and then they finally get to the gore scene where they cut off his toe or
Right.
finger or whatever, and they cut away.
Right.
It's obviously not rated PG
Right,
at
exactly.
this point, from what I've
Exactly.
seen. And they're going to cut away at that point. I didn't walk out of the theater because I was on a date.
Right.
But it was, you know, I want to go. I want to see effects. I want a plot. If I go to a film and it's a boot, like my friend Brian K. Williams, awesome movie maker. He's making Space Babes from Outer Space. Calls it Space Boobs from Outer Space. Advertises it with boobs. You know what you're getting into.
Right, right.
You know, if God bless him, but you know, don't trick me into
Right,
it.
exactly.
You know, don't trick me.
And
the CGI blood spill is harsh.
Is harsh too. Yeah.
Yeah. If it can't get on you,
Right.
you know,
Right.
it takes the effect away. Even with like rubber monsters and stuff, it can touch you. It can still touch you. It might look sloppy,
Right.
but it's going to get you.
Right.
And there's something that's taken away from the film where if it can't get you, it takes away the whole ick factor. Like we want
Exactly.
to feel icky. You know?
Right. And you know, like on Eli Roth and Rob Zombie, it's like I really hate the genre of horror that was created in the 2000s with movies
Yeah.
like Hostel and House of a Thousand Corpses and some of where the Saw movies went after one. You know, it's like I don't like gore porn.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I like to be entertained with gore, but like you said, you want a plot.
Well, that's the thing too. I think in probably the last 4 years, I turned down working on more films than I accepted because of horror porn. And being a woman in the industry, if I see the director and how he treats his female actresses, that determines very much how that director is going to respect me as a woman on set.
Right.
And honestly, I think most directors have tried to get me in their films, and I was just in Fred's film recently because he's one of my best friends, Fred Vogel. But just because he's one of my best friends, you know, and that was like a 2-minute cameo, fully clothed, you know,
Right.
being the makeup artist, you know. But you know, I turned down a menage a trois scene in Tom Savini's film because I was the makeup artist. I like to stay behind the camera,
Right.
and you know, sometimes I might dress up nice, but like I still expect that respect. And in certain props and certain genres, I got asked to make a baby for a rape scene. I've got asked to make vaginas for fisted. Like I make my effects at home. If I can't have it in my home, you know, and then I have to explain this or lose connections because of this, you know, that affects everything as well. You know, I have to be proud of what I put out. And there was a film recently, I actually just jacked up my rates because I didn't want to insult the guy, you know. But I didn't want my name on it either, and I jacked up my rates, and then I had one of the stipulations was not putting my name on the film. You know, why bother? You know, if it's not
Right.
something you can, in this field, it's word of mouth and stuff like that. It's like, what kind of people, what kind of fans do I want? And with this genre and stuff, like, I don't put my pictures of my child on Facebook, you know.
Right.
We're at a convention now. Yesterday, you know, I had a customer here for half an hour trying to see my feet. You know, it's just an awkward society, and then I see my friends are putting out this genre and the people they have to deal with and the things they cause, and having them realize, like, wow, these sick people like my stuff, and it attracts these certain people, and then just trying to correct that and level it out, and watching like, this movie's not for kids, next to us right now, and there are certain fan bases you will attract, and you have to be careful about, even reality TV. I got like, it's all edited, none of that's real, but people want to believe what they see on TV. They want to have hope in that, and you get all kinds. But I judge a horror fan too, if they like the intellectual horror, or they're walking for all zombie shirts. They probably won't like.
Right. It's like I've seen Rob Zombie a few times in concert, and it's like he puts on a good show, but I don't think he has any right to be behind the camera. If anything, he should be making cameos in movies, like as himself.
Well, that's like the 80s. Like, you remember the 80s, you were there, you're saying. Okay, so like, remember that whole Satan shtick we had to deal with, where their parents were trying to burn our vinyl. And like, my aunt took all my back patches off my jean jacket and burned them, and like, they would have the intervention heavy metal talk with you. Okay, so we dealt with all this in the 80s, and like, it was all about Satan. Satan was coming to get us. Like, people still trying to bank on Satan in 2017. Come on, man.
Right.
Like, that's what was refreshing about The Witch, I think, because it was like, it wasn't trying to, it was more an explanation of the rebellion and the falsehood of certain things, but it wasn't like, the devil, big pentagrams, and it's just trying to sell. Like, that's so, I don't know. I'm old now. I'm 40. So it's like, that's so cheesy to me. Like, does that still appeal to kids? Should I be selling that stuff at my table?
Right. I mean, I guess it's all about how you reinvent it.
Yeah.
Versus, there's difference. Like, this is my viewpoint.
You gotta stop redoing everything. You shouldn't
remake it. You should reinvent it.
Exactly.
And the issue that I have with so many horror movies that come out these days is like, they're trying to remake and recapture something that had its time, and
they want to put their name on it too and ride the coattails rather than, like, if you can't do it better than the original.
Exactly. Ghostbusters is one of the most prime examples of, like, it shouldn't have been done.
Yeah.
And the sales that it lost, the money it lost at the box office, because everybody was like, what the fuck, basically.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to see, like it wasn't about being an all-female cast. It wasn't about,
that's
that
the
at all.
political correctness nowadays. Everybody needs their chance. Everybody needs their name on it. Everybody needs a trophy, And life's not like that.
It isn't, And, I mean, with my own writing, it's like, being a product of the 80s, growing up in the 90s, it's like you get the tail end of, because I was 88, so it's like you get the tail end of all this awesome stuff that came up until 88, and then you grow up rewatching that, and then being there for all the cool stuff in the 90s, and my biggest influences are Wes Craven, John Carpenter, Clive Barker, Stuart Gordon, that whole team, and it's like I would never in my right mind think of remaking any of
Hellraiser. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I mean,
they should be hung up and impaled.
I mean, the thing that I do want to do to Hellraiser, though, is I want to adapt the Scarlet Gospels into a movie, which I think
that's a whole different film unto itself. Yeah.
It's like Shane Black and Fred Decker have the right idea with, Shane Black said it best with adding on to the Predator franchise.
Yeah, it's like, once you already have a legacy, you can either destroy that legacy or you can keep that legacy and ride it.
Right, and you can add on to it, like he said. Because it's like, I have a Predator film in the works also that I'm writing, and it's like, I would never in my right mind think of remaking something, you know, unless it's something that deserves to be remade, like Rawhead Rex,
or like something that was never really made in the first place,
done
that
right
like
in the first place.
should have been
right.
seen.
Because there's a bunch of '80s movies that were they're fun to like rewatch just for how cheesy they are. But you can think to yourself, like, man, with the practical effects we have now, with the storytelling abilities that we have now, you could remake these films and have it be twice as scary, you know, and truer to the literature that it came from, and twice as scary and
like
terrifying.
Remaking Nightmare on Elm Street is absurd to me. And then like I watched it, but like having me sit there wanting to sympathize with Freddy Krueger because he's like a pedophile. Like I wanted none of that.
None of it.
None of it. And I wouldn't even watch it twice. Like I heard Heather won't watch it at all.
Yeah, I talked to her when she was here a few years ago, and I asked her what her opinion was on that film, and she straight out said it's garbage.
It is
trash. I will not watch it. And I've been sharing on Facebook her statement about that because it's like that's a film that shouldn't be remade.
No, it's too early.
It's too early. What? I don't think it should be remade at all.
It shouldn't be, but like you wait till Robert Englund's dead for 10 years
10,
or
20
something.
years, you know, before you try and like bring that back.
Let it be forgotten, but you can't.
That's another thing when you're trying to bring back all these 80s movies when it's like, you know, not even all of us 80s kids are in our 30s.
Yeah, why can't people just make something different?
New, you know. It's like one of my. I'm a big.
Well, Jordu Shell. Fred and them were just filming with them. Jordu Shell's making a monster movie, so I'm really excited about that because he's a monster maker making a monster movie. So it got a creature.
Right.
So that's what we need.
It's like most of my writing consists of, you know, monster movies, but the villains having great dialogue like Pinhead did. You know, and being smart and intelligent.
Just the cinematography.
Yeah.
You know, James Wan's getting like I like James Wan. It's the same shtick over and over again anymore.
Right.
Like the jump scares.
Right.
Boo.
Right.
I'm like, intellectually challenge me.
Right.
I can't like. I'm 40. I got a weak heart. Like the jump scare could kill me, but not in a good way. Like if you want to give me horror, like, you know, give me something that's gonna retch in my bed thinking at night.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Like the first time you saw Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
You know, like,
or the first time you saw Hellraiser. The first time you saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Just the dreams and the thoughts, like driving through a field. Your thoughts driving through a field change.
Right. I want movies to give me nightmares. You know, like the first time I saw it, you know, it gave me nightmares. And I was like, that's what I want. I want a film to.
You don't look at a sewer the same anymore.
Right.
You know, it changes your perception.
Right.
You know, that's I want to see perceptions change. I want to see a film that questions my, you know, thought process about things. Doesn't end in a poop joke and a jump scare. Like I can't anymore.
Right. Now, I have to share this with you because we're on the subject of horror masters here. Mm-hmm. I happen to have George Romero's desk.
Oh, that's cool.
And I always like to say this in my interviews because, especially we're at Horror Realm 2017. It's like, you know, I'm writing my screenplays on George Romero's desk. And I have to say, like, I feel his aura, you know, surging through me whenever I write a script because it's like
that energy's there.
That energy's there. It's like, you know, I've written 2 zombie scripts on that desk, and I'm now developing Creepshow into an anthology TV series. So it's like, you know, it's all there, you know, but, you know, there's something about the horror masters that, you know, screenwriters should be studying and not saying, you know, we want to remake this, we want to be inspired to do something new.
We grew up, we had the Creepshow, and we had like the Savini teachers, and so we had like all those old Italian guys. Like it Tales from the Dark Side, and then we had Monsters came out in the late '80s. Steve Johnson did that, but we had but we still grew up on Hitchcock, Ray Bradbury, like all those great anthology type, mystery, intellectual horror things that I miss all of it. Like there's nothing like that. I'm glad to see Netflix getting back.
Yeah, I'm happy that Netflix is really gearing up with the horror stuff.
They are. What was that? Black Mirror.
Black Mirror
series. That was
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things was awesome. I sat and watched that in one night binge.
And now they're doing they're doing that original film of Gerald's Game.
Yeah, I've been trying to watch the Drew Barrymore one. I keep falling asleep. Yeah, I'm trying to watch the Santa Clarita Diet one. It could use a little more. Black Mirror was phenomenal, though. I think one of the episodes had me crying even. I was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm even identifying with these characters, because the characters are so far off. If somebody can get you to identify with characters you have nothing in common with and feel the emotions of those characters, like that's art. You know, because I'm not a dying 90-year-old lesbian, you know? Like, for me to identify with that and like have emotional, you know, feelings about the episode, it was amazing to me, you know? Like, all of those episodes were really good, but we need more of that. And then how many people are not going to see that? That's not on cable. That's not on television. You know, it's some of it, the subjects are too taboo, too real, you know? They're not going to cause conflict amongst people. If anything, they're going to unite people over deep thought.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's like I recently watched a Frank Zappa documentary, and Zappa basically has this statement that he made when, like we were talking about in the 80s with, you know, the whole parental advisory ban that was going on, and he was one of the major artists that was threatened by the parental advisory, and he made some statement that was basically like society telling us that, you know, we have to label music is not allowing us, like the creative people, to think. And if you're not creative enough to think on your own, by labeling something, you're not allowing the people that aren't creative.
Labeling is fine. Like, we should, as parents, should be pre-warned. You can't just let your kids, you know, as a parent, you know, like I wouldn't let them watch my kid watch my best friend's films or my best friend's concert. But like, to try to prevent, ban, stop. God, the kids in Berkeley are burning free speech signs, you know, yesterday or something. Like I don't know what the hell happens to that, but that shit got to stop. You have to have free speech. You have to have free thought. Whether that thought's a belief in your own head in a god, or whether that thought, like, as long as you're not acting and penalizing others for the beliefs or thoughts in your head. Have thoughts. We need to think. We need to get that stuff off in our heads so we're not slaughtering people and gutting people, and let us think fucked up thoughts. You know, it's healthy.
It's like, you know,
it's when we act on those fucked up thoughts and suppressing that thought and being told how to think, like, suppresses all of that anger and rage. I mean, and you're gonna cause...
my dad, you know, started me out on a very selective diet with movies. And I was 5 years old when I saw my first R-rated movie, and that was Total Recall.
I didn't know any better.
You know, my dad, you know, had this idea of just covering my eyes on nudity until I was in my double digits.
So that's what my parents did too. They, I saw American Werewolf in London at the drive-in at 5 years old when it came out, and it was like, I got to see all of the gore, but when that porn movie came on, like, my eyes were covered. You know, like all things, but like violence, it was like
the graphic violence. You know, it's like my dad just like started me out on a strict regimen. You know, it was like, you know, start with the essentials: Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Bruce Willis. You know, and then
Zombie Jack was my first crush as a girl.
and then he started me on the horror movies. You know, I don't think I was allowed to see Hellraiser until I was like in my double digits. But like Nightmare, Jason, you know, Leatherface, Ash, you know, all that was what I was watching before I was even in my double digits.
I was way too damn young. My mother was too young. She would take me to the drive-in and sneak me in under a blanket in the back seat, and you know. So I would see the films. I think I saw Poltergeist 7 times at the drive-in before I was, you know, God, I was like 7 years old.
My mom and dad took me to a drive-in when I was really little, and the movie they took us to go see was Leave It to Beaver and George of the Jungle. Like, but what I was doing the whole time is like on the other screen that I could see from like in the car was Event Horizon. So I was just like, I wasn't paying attention to like George of the Jungle. I was like, you know, just like reading lips, you know, for Event Horizon, you know. So
my mom would try to make up for it, like, well, I'll show you the making of it, and we'd watch like Movie Magic or whatever, and it was just like I would see Screaming Mad George on all these documentaries. I'm like, that's who I want to be.
Society.
When I grow up.
Society.
Like, yeah.
Oh my God.
I would see Screaming Mad George, and I'm like, he's a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
And he's getting paid. And he looks like the happiest person I've ever seen. I'm like, if I could be him, I'd be the happiest person I've ever seen.
Oh man, that's bringing up some memories.
But that stuff damaged me. Like, it wasn't watching the horror movies that messed me up. It was watching the making of the horror movies and being influenced by these crazy bastards, and then trying to take pictures of tissue paper and water and the effects it would do, and then, you know, playing dead just to freak your parents out at a young age, and seeing if you could get away with it too well.
Screaming Mad George. Now that guy is talented. I mean, the stuff that he created. I mean, Society is one of my top favorite called horror sci-fi movies from the 80s, and you know, The Guyver also, and how many other awesome films is that? Reanimator, Bride of Reanimator.
Oh, I love Reanimator. That's just fun. That's a fun film.
All of them, like highly just, you know, like Lovecraft is probably my favorite author of all time, and it's like a lot of my writing is adapting his stuff, and kind of like definitely inspired by the Stuart Gordon Reanimator team, but with like, you know, think like a bigger budget, and just like, again, this is what I'm talking about. It's like the inspirations of these classics, you know, and the guys who did it best in the 80s and in the 90s, and their inspiration, you know, bleeding on to, you know, young up and coming writers like myself, and hopefully a lot more like me, because, you know, it's like, like I said, I think
it's like getting you guys the right support and recognized. Right. You know, like, if your plot's not PG-13 and pushing Pepsi, if you can't put it on Pepsi, you know. Right. Getting it even recognized, you know.
It's tough. I mean, the writer's hardest, like, being a screenwriter, it's like the thing we deal with most that's like troublesome is getting our original idea out there, because Hollywood is so into like themselves exactly, and to, you know, instead of what would be awesome and to the art, true to the art form, it's they think about the dollar bills and what is.
But it's like, you think, like, I'm an up-and-coming filmmaker, you know, they'll help me climb the ladder. Like, no, they'll kick your knees out so you can't climb. Like, they're psycho in Hollywood, man. They're like, you gotta be careful who you show your idea to, because it'll become their idea. Right. And they already got the budget to go with it. You know, they got the whole backing behind them, and you show them your idea, and then it's their idea, and you're watching somebody else in Hollywood bank off your idea. Tim Gore. But, you know, like, I don't know, like, I don't know, the last couple of years, I'm like, when I went on Face Off, I'm like, oh, I'd like to get into Hollywood, and then like seeing people actually work on the big films, making, casting armor plate pieces for Captain America. Like, I'm just casting scales. I gotta make 750 scales for this. Fuck that.
Right.
Fuck that. Like, I don't want to be known for that. I don't want to do that. I work on a film with my friends now, and we have a good time, and we don't sleep, and we age 10 years, and you know what? It's my name on it.
Right.
And it's my work. I know I did it. I know what I fucked up when I see it. I know what I did. Other people get to see what I did, and there is gratification to that. There's pride with that, and there's a pride of the team where it's our film. We did it together, and like I can't imagine having any camaraderie with the 400 plus effects crew.
Right.
You gotta have your buddy that has your back and you trust, because you might fall over. I like to have, strong relationships with people. Like, a lot of people are superficial, I like to say. Like, I don't know. I think that's my thing, too. Like, being independent, being from a small town like Pittsburgh, like, I have an issue, and then working in the industry, too, you meet a lot of superficial people, and there's a superficiality I just can't do. It's a fakeness. There's an ignorance to it. There's a fucking rudeness to it. And a lot of people in the industry and stuff like that, and a lot of people in this room today are superficial. There's some of those stuck-up C-listers over there. But it's like superficial. You're working with somebody, they're a wonderful person, and then it's like now they're too good to know you. Well, I'm still going to work on films. Like, who am I going to work with again as well? Right. So you have to keep a camaraderie, a trust, look beyond that. I don't know. Like, there's some people, like, I was good friends with. Like, I would say Russo was a good friend, and then he's just, as soon as if you know the right person at the right time, or if you're working with the right person at the correct time, then they're your best friend.
Right.
But then it's like, once that person, or you're working on something else, or they don't know what you're working on, then you're like a stranger. It's like,
right.
What the hell is that?
Right.
You like know somebody or you don't know somebody. You're friends with somebody. You're like, you can't. It can't be based on who they know and what they know and what they can do for you. Because at the end of that, I'm not going to do shit for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then when I do know that person, and that person is walking around for me, I'm not introducing them to you.
Right.
And that's the thing too. Is like, I'm the kind of person, like, I would give my right arm for anybody. But just like, I don't know. There's like a superficiality I don't like about the industry. There's bigotry in the industry too. Like, I was really surprised. Like, people talking about female filmmakers and this and that, women in horror, and the people making their women in horror movies never hire women effects artists. Women effects artists just aren't sexy to them, so they'll hire male effects artists. You mention it to them, they'll block you, delete you, it's asinine. It's a superficial, people say what they need to say to get the fans that they need to have, whether those fans be women, or, the whole Hillary Clinton thing, just appealing to women. I'm like, men were pissed at me for not voting for. I never said who I voted for, okay? And I'm not stating that, and I'm not stating about the orange guy or nothing like that. I will say I did not vote for that woman because men told me to vote for that woman. Doesn't make it okay to vote for a woman. Like, if I don't agree with her ideals, and I particularly liked Vladimir Putin at the time, I'm just like, you can't, I don't know, like, that's a free thought thing too. Like, people need to have their own beliefs, their free thoughts, and we need to be able to discuss those beliefs, free thoughts openly. You can't, like, this whole society now, it's like, you don't think the way I think.
Yeah, exactly.
That I'm just not, I'm going to shut you off from life.
Right.
Like, that is not how civilized society operates.
Right.
We have to discuss our differences and learn how to live with each other with our differences.
Right.
Know? Like, I would be able to live in a room with Rob Zombie, and I would probably tell him, like, yeah, I don't watch your shit, but you might be a nice person.
Right.
But, like, I would be honest, and I wouldn't, like, butter him up. I wouldn't, like, if I was in a fucking room with Rob Zombie, and he's, like, fucking famous and shit, I'm not. I would be like, dude, that's cool, you're famous. I don't particularly like your shit, but that's cool. And, like, we would find a common way to get along as human beings. I wouldn't be like, dude, you're the greatest just because he's fucking Rob Zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not a superficial fake schmuck.
Right.
And I get more shit from not being that superficial fake schmuck. But I think people deserve the respect and dignity of realness. And that's even in special effects.
Definitely.
Even in film. Like, the blood has to get on you. You deserve that respect of that extra 5 minutes to splash it on the actor's face.
Right.
You know? And the actor should take it too. The actor should get 30. And that horror actors and actresses and anybody who's worked in our films especially that has put up with that sticky shit is ultra commendable. Anybody who has effects done on them becomes a creature, gets disemboweled. In Mana, we had a girl, Mel Heflin. She's going through some stuff now, and I think John Russo is actually going to be at her fundraiser coming up. They're doing a fundraiser for her. She had a terrible family tragedy, but she was in Mana, volunteered her time for the film, and stood naked, wearing a pig head, covered in blood, in a freezing garage for like 3 hours for the film, and wanted the shot. She wanted the shot. She made sure we got every shot, and it was on her. It was like, are you okay? Can you do this anymore? Like, get the shot. I'm in it for the art. Like, that is so commendable.
Right.
And we got some beautiful shots. I even have her on one of the prayer campers here.
Awesome.
But in the film, I mean, it's absolutely just an artistic perception. It's like a dream trance our actor's in the film, where he sees her covered in blood wearing the pig head. But what she had to go through for that.
Right.
You know, and everybody. I recently worked with Crispin Glover, and him in his own film, acting, directing. We did effects on him. I decapitated him in his film. I had to do head cast on him in between times he was directing, setting up shot where he's, you know, getting effects and makeup done, and, you know, by all means losing his mind, because fucking how the hell are you gonna hold that much shit together? Just a amazing eccentric artist. And I think a lot of people think he's weird and this and that, but to be able to hold that many creative things together in your own mind, it's a fucking art form. It is absolutely amazing working with somebody that creative and getting in their head and being able to be in their head and seeing what they're going through and how they're thinking. I was just privileged to be there. Like, I know a lot of other people that don't like to work with me.
Right.
But they're not artists.
Right.
You know, so I can see, like, a lot of people don't like to work with me, but they're not artists, you know. But other art, I think, like, there's a creative zone we get in that we understand. I love being an effects makeup artist mostly because of being able to get with the writer, get with the director, get in their head, bond with them, and find their vision. Working with Michael Todd Schneider, even, like, the whole crew would be frustrated because he'd go in his head. And I would just go in and be like, you've been in your head 20 minutes. We're waiting. They don't know how long they're in their head.
Right.
They're in there plotting the entire film, replaying it, and all this in their head. And once you see their vision, you can't rush an artistic vision. It will not turn out right. They have to do it in their own time, their own way, and all you can do is support that.
Right.
And to the best of your ability, and I love that part of the job. That's the best part of it.
Right. Well, I'll be honest with you. It has always been my dream to be like done up in makeup. So if you ever need, I'm local, so if you ever need like a test subject, a monster,
absolutely.
I would love
How
to do it. I am 6'5", so
You're a big guy,
I could do it. And at Point Park, my friends.
I have some cryptozoologists we should fuck with.
it's like at Point Park. I'm known for probably being like the guy who knows the most about horror movies in Pittsburgh, or at least at Point Park. But my friends would say to me, all the time, it's like, Sam, you're going to go out to California, you're going to try and make it as a screenwriter, but somehow you're going to be pulled in to be playing like the monster or like the psychopath because you just have the build and the size, to do it. And I'm like, I wouldn't mind playing the Predator. Like that movie rocked. I would totally be down to go with all that makeup, just to go through the experience and, come out. Again, makeup effects just was the coolest thing to me. And for a while, that's what I wanted to do before, I became a screenwriter, and I looked at the Douglas School and the Art Institute. And
well, there's what you can do too. Like, you can learn different mediums to make your art better.
Right.
Or different, but you still initially have to be an artist,
right.
A physical, graphic artist. I think like a lot of people, I would see people drop out of school left and right when I was in college, and that was the thing, was people would go there to learn how to be an artist, and you can't. You're born an artist. It's one of those things, like being able to being born how to sing in a high C, being a soprano, like I was born an artist. I could draw when I was a kid. Like stuff I drew when I was 13 is equal to stuff I'm drawing now. Like, I just learned different mediums to make my art.
And it's so great that you say that, because it's like when I went to the Douglas School and I saw like how in depth all this stuff was, I knew right off the bat, I can't do this.
Yeah, and at that point, then you got to realize that you also have to be a scientific alchemist.
Exactly. And you have to, a lot of people don't realize with makeup effects, you have to full on know in and out anatomy. And that's a very tough, subject. It's like, my dad had to learn anatomy because he was a nurse, and that was like his thing he had the most trouble with.
Yeah, well, I know forensic anatomy. I know every muscle. That was. We learned anatomy in school, but I also learned forensic anatomy and stuff like that from morticians. I got all the mortuary diagrams. I got to be able to build a body from the inside out.
Exactly. There's so much that goes into being a makeup effects artist.
I did an autopsy scene in makeup.
Right. People don't realize that there's a lot more that goes into being a makeup effects artist than just creating what you see on the screen.
At the Art Institute we went, it was part of the industrial design program, so we learned it was a design process.
Right.
Where I think a lot of the makeup schools now are like, you can slap a zipper on it, makeup. Where there's also a technical special effects field, which is not just slapping makeup on, like blood rigs and stuff like that, and even the glues and the products we use get extremely technical. I probably have 30 different types of adhesive at any different time, and if you got one of those mixed up, they could kill somebody or make somebody's life ill.
Right.
You have to know your products. You have to stay up to date. You're always learning. I think 2 years ago I got to use encapsulated silicone. That is amazing stuff compared to in school we were learning how to do a foam latex, and it's like now they have encapsulated silicone. It's so real. it's amazing to work with, absolutely seamless. But like, if you're going to go to school, like, what are you going to learn? Is it going to be the industry standard, or is it going to be the standard for haunt night?
Right.
So when I do makeup, I'm doing, I'm not doing haunts. I'm not making rubber masks, monster masks. That's not what I want to do. But I will do an old age makeup. I'll do creature. I'll do like character makeups and stuff like that. That's more, what I'm getting into, besides like blood effects and realism and stuff like that. Like, I'd like to do monsters. I got my alien there and stuff, and but I want things that can get you,
right?
That are real, that can touch you, that
right?
I want when you see a gore effect in my film, you cringe,
right?
Like I want people to have that feeling. Oh God. The guys from Girls and Corpses, Tamarin, was watching us film part of our film and was cringing, and I was like, that is awesome. Because like, if you get these sick guys that watch all this shit and I'm making them cringe, like, we're doing something right. Yeah. Like, did we pull this effect off right? But he's cringing, so it must not be that bad. It could be a sick movie. If you got to hand out barf bags at your film, it's effective.
Right.
That's what we're working with Crispin Glover. He's like, he'd be like, I don't want a lot of blood. I just want the scene to be effective. But his term of effective ended up being like just awesomely psychotic.
and on the subject,
it ended up the effective was always 3 gallons of blood. So he was a lot of fun.
And on the subject of Crispin Glover, like, I've loved Crispin Glover ever since he portrayed George McFly. But then before he played George McFly, he was in Friday the 13th Part 4.
Oh yeah.
I've just loved that guy. Since Back to the Future, but everything he's done, I've been a fan of. And one of the, remade horror films of the 2000s that went under the radar that was actually really, really good was Willard.
I loved that, and that's like, he's kind of dark to himself like that, but not crazy. He's definitely a little bit more social. But I like it. Like, I would love to see him play a killer.
Yeah.
Like
a serial killer psychopath.
Like, why is nobody cast him? Like, I've seen him act now. Like, I got to be on set with him and watch him act and watch him. Like, we filmed on film. We filmed on Fuji, so like we filmed on 35mm. Like, he got everything first, maybe second take on something, but he nailed it, his lines first time, and they, like, beautifully. It have to be amazing, to work on your film. Like, I would love to see somebody cast him as some type of creepy, dark,
Done. You know what? Done. I'm gonna write it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write it, and I'm gonna totally pitch it with the idea of him being cast.
I love Depp. Like, Depp's, but like, when I think of what's his? I can't think of the 1800s. The guy that Jack the Ripper. When I think Jack the Ripper, like, I want to see Crispin. Something about Crispin, he's intellectual.
Right.
Like, if you saw him, like, he might not have to say in a film, but you could see an intellectual thought process going on in his head.
Right.
That would make it more believable. Like, there's just something there. I would like to see him in something intellectually dark. And like, we worked on a period piece too, and I thought he was very good in a period film. But yeah, just that coldness, like him getting romantic or something. Like, it couldn't happen there. There's a coldness. Like, she'd have to die.
Right.
I know some ladies that understand that. But yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I got to go to Prague and live in his castle. We flew me out there twice to work on his film. It was
that's awesome.
amazing out there. I love I loved Prague. I loved the experience of going out there. That he asked me to come back twice, which was phenomenal too. So, very interesting, wonderful experience. Wonderful experience all day. And then back here we worked with Diane Franklin on a film. I said somebody had saw that I worked on the film with her and then was wondering if she lived through it now, which I thought was a cute comment. Like, oh no, I wonder if she lives through it now. And I was like, aw. I worked on it and I think she dies. I thought that was really sweet. I'm like, I gotta write down my kill list. You know, like, who have I killed? This is great. That's just a goal. There's like a couple more people I'd like to kill for. In life.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good place to stop. My last question is, what are some of your favorite films? Doesn't have to necessarily be horror.
I loved Pie.
That's a classic.
I loved that film. Was that Jodorowsky? But that was amazing because I'm really into like alchemy and mystical teachings and stuff like that. But that movie was like deep, and unless you were like into a lot of that Kabbalistic stuff, like you wouldn't even get half that movie. But like I got it like such a level, like my mind was like blown open. I couldn't even believe he put all of that into a film. Like he had Ormish dripping from the computer and stuff. Like I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, for people to even touch on this film, you know, and what's going through his head, I would love to work with him. That movie was awesome. I mean, it was just so intellectual and so deep, and like just the hidden art behind it was just very cool to me. Oh God, I'm trying to remember what came out recently. My favorite films, like I still have like American War Movie is an awesome freaking film. That will always be one of my favorite films. And as soon as you walk away, I'm like, no, that's my favorite film. But I don't know, I can't think of it. But there was like, I'll tell you one thing. The European version of anything the Americans make is always better. Like all of those films, like whether it's The Ring or the freaking Let Me In, or there was even a couple other ones they make. Like the European versions are always better than the American versions. Old Boy, sick. Oh, I loved what's the one? Oh God. I can't think of the name of the film. It's a rape revenge film, though. It's a murder revenge film. It's a Japanese, or it's a Korean one. Clark did it too. I'm trying to think of.
It was Audition?
No, it was the one where oh God, why can't I remember the name of it? Where the guy's father-in-law's the police detective, and then he goes and tries. I have it. I love that. That was one of my favorite ones. That was so romantic. Like to have a revenge film, like it was utterly romantic. Like he puts a tracker up his ass and fucking stalks his ass, and then fucking tortures him daily. Like he doesn't kill him. He tortures. I'm like, that is so romantic.
Right.
Like I'm watching this guy be like, it was like a torture porn. But this dude, it was romantic.
Right.
I'm like, if you can make a torture porn romantic, that's fucking Park Chan-wook, man. It's the shit. It's so awesome. Dude's fucked up. So like I think a lot of that's too like you got like horror films coming from Pittsburgh, and then you got like some like coming from like cold parts of Canada, like Korea's been through some war, some shit, you know, like you get the darkest films out of these cold, dark places that don't see sunlight or have been through war or grief, and like you get some deep shit out of these places, you know. I think you got La La Land. They get too much sunshine. You know? They're like resorting to fart jokes because they don't know pain. You know? Their produce is organic. They're fine.
Right.
We got real death, destruction, and 3 feet of snow here, man.
Right.
You know, we're like, we need like Norwegian metal and freaking, you know, cannibalism. That's how we get through our harsh winters here. You know, it's sunshine and organics.
Right.
But I think it affects the horror, you know?
Right,
It does.
right.
But, like, why can't I remember the name of that film? It's driving me crazy. I love that film. Why aren't you knowing it?
I'm embarrassed. I forget the name
Hey,
of
get
it.
him. Keith. I can't remember the name of the film. It's driving me crazy. One of my favorite films, Park Chan-wook. The revenge one. His father-in-law's the detective, and then he like goes and romantically puts the tracker up the dude's ass and stalks him and tortures. No, not Old Boy.
There's like who's the Vengeance one? Lady Vengeance.
It was before Lady Vengeance. It's the one he made right before. Oh my God! Why can't I remember the name?
We're looking it up real quick.
I'm looking it up because it's driving me crazy. Oh my God! I can't handle it. That's like I wait for Mike Gingold to put out his list of favorite films. Like I don't even like go watch films anymore. Like Gingold is like his film critiques are very close to my own. I very much respect anything. If he's like, this is a good film, this is a shit film,
Right.
I probably agree with him.
Right.
Like 90% of the time. So like I wait till he brings out his top 10 list and I'm like, those are the top 10 I need to see.
Right.
I don't even really care about too many other people's opinion, but I do respect Mike Gingold's opinion. Plus he likes my stuff, so we like Mikey.
I can see if I can pull it up on IMDb.
It's driving me crazy. You know, it's probably on my favorite films right on my Facebook, and I can't remember. I am bad with names too. What's your name again?
Sam.
I am. I like forgot like it was like some dude I was dealing with all the time, and I like forgot his name. And he had the same name as my brother. I'm so horrible. It doesn't make me a bad person. This site that totally makes me a horrible person. That's driving me crazy. I'm gonna like kick myself once I. Where are my favorite films at? It's driving me crazy. Where's it at in there? Where do they put that stuff? There's Crispin Glover's head. There's somebody else's head. I'm wondering how many people I decapitated. And I think I've like 5 or 6. I think it's Revenge is in the title. It's driving me crazy. You're still recording.
We're still recording.
Babbling over it. I'm like, we're going to have to edit it back in there. Like,
Right.
We'll say, like, oh, my favorite film's this, and then we'll edit all of that out.
Right.
But I fucking love that film, and I can't remember. I like Ninja Assassin, too. And somebody was like, when I was on Face of Along, the Korean girl, and she was an awesome cook, by the way. But she was like, she told me that the dude that was in, and it broke my heart because I was watching Ninja Assassin. I'm like, I like that film. He's really hot in it. And I'm like, it's an awesome film. She's like, no, that's like our Justin Bieber in Korea.
Right.
And I didn't realize like he was in a boy band.
Right.
And he was like straight up there Justin Bieber. I'm like, why? Isn't Justin Bieber killing shit in the United States?
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Like, what?
Instead he gets killed in Zoolander
We
2.
need to learn from Korea, man. And like we got to start like get the Spice Girls out there slaughtering some shit, you know, like fighting monsters. I want to see
killers.
I want to see Spice Girls fight Guar.
I just saw Guar.
They're good friends of mine. Very good
That
friends
was a great show. I saw them Halloween, like this past Halloween at Mr. Small's. That was a fun show.
I'm always at their shows. In the balcony or backstage. Now I worked for them 9 95 to 2000. That was like my first paying gig. I've known Gore since I was 4. So we go way back. I've known them since I was a little kid.
You'll have to tell them that I'm a huge fan and tell them that you were on my show.
Okay, they know who you are.
Well, they don't know who I am, but I'm hoping that you'll tell them who I am so I can get Guar on my show.
Yeah, I had one friend who was like, I come out backstage with Dave Brocky, and he's like, can you ask Dave if I can give him a hug? I'm like, I don't know you, dude. I was like, run, Dave, run.
I went with
like,
my I went with my coworker, and he went in with shoes and came out missing shoes.
How do people do that? I see that happen all of the time.
And like it was the last concert I went to before I sold my old car, and I'm happy to say that forever and always there will be bloody footprints in that car on the mats, because it's like after the effects at that show. It's great.
Here's a list of Korean revenge films.
We're still on it. Unbroken.
And all the other ones I need to watch.
Right.
I Saw the Devil.
All right, there we go.
I Saw the Devil.
We figured it out.
Okay, my favorite film, I think, the last few years, I really liked I Saw the Devil. That was awesome. If you could make, a revenge movie that is like practically horror porn, romantic, that's art. That was good shit. Yeah, I liked that. That was
awesome.
Have you seen it?
Awesome.
Have you seen it?
That's one I haven't seen yet.
You gotta watch it.
I gotta watch that now.
It's special, man.
Yeah, that's now on the list.
That's one of the ones, like, my man is like, he will sit and watch the films with me. I'm like, I had him watch Old Boy, and he was just like, the next day he's like, why did you do that to me? And like, my friend from Guar showed me Old Boy the first time. He's like, you have to watch this, and he like put it on and left the room. He's like, I'm like, aren't you gonna watch this with me? He's like, no. I'm like, and after I watch it, I'm like, oh, that's like, yeah. Like, you see it, and then you saw too much.
Right.
Like, it's a good film. It's fucked up. It will fuck you up.
Right.
It will, like, make you question things watching it.
Right.
Your morality. The morality of the person who wrote the film. You're not sure. You should. And that's what I think with Christmas is, like, you should question things when you watch a film. You should question things. You should question the industry, and it's okay to ask questions. So his films are sick. I want to ask questions at one of his shows and see if he'll even answer my question, because I'd be like I'd ask the questions nobody else would ask, because that's the type of asshole I am. I wouldn't even like keep my questions PC. I want to know whose prostitutes those were, because that's the part that humors me. And I see the art form behind that.
And on that note, we're gonna. That is the Autumn Cooking Review.
It gets worse and worse.
Awesome. Well, Autumn, thank you so much for swimming in the bowl with me. It was a pleasure having you on the show. It got deep, got real deep, and I know it makes you tick. So, and so do my viewers now and listeners too. So, yes, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.